Ever wonder how the Amish consistently create mouth-watering, shelf-stable meals without relying on modern conveniences? In this video, we're revealing 10 clever food hacks passed down through generations of Amish families. Hacks that can help anyone reduce food waste, extend freshness, and pack more flavor into every dish. If you're ready to discover simple, time-tested tips you'll wish you tried sooner, stay right here, because we're diving into the world of Amish ingenuity to transform your kitchen routine. Number 1. Root cellar mastery. The Amish have perfected the art of storing root vegetables and other produce underground to maintain optimal humidity and temperature levels. By digging a cellar several feet below the frost line, they create an environment where potatoes, carrots, onions, and other staples can remain fresh for months without modern refrigeration. This space stays consistently cool, often between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 50 degrees Fahrenheit, making it ideal for slowing down natural decay. Thick walls and an earthen floor help trap the coolness of the surrounding ground, while proper ventilation ensures carbon dioxide and excess moisture can escape. In many Amish communities, families will line cellar shelves with wooden slats or place items in breathable burlap sacks to prevent mold growth. Large clay crocks, known for their durability, also come into play for storing fermented items right alongside fresh produce. Keeping direct sunlight out is key, so doorways and small windows are carefully positioned or covered. Some families even dig multiple levels, dedicating the lower portion to crops needing the coldest environment, like carrots and beets, while higher shelves hold onions, garlic, and squashes that prefer slightly warmer, drier conditions. It's a strategic system grounded in generations of trial and error, providing a reliable way to preserve flavor and texture with no electricity. Thanks to this method, many Amish households can enjoy homegrown vegetables long after they've been harvested, reducing waste and supporting off-grid self-sufficiency. Number 2. Fermented beverage secrets. Making use of natural fermentation is a cornerstone of Amish culinary practice, especially when it comes to beverages. Amish communities often brew kombucha-like drinks and homemade herbal tonics that rely on a mother culture to convert sugars into beneficial acids, vitamins, and enzymes. These drinks not only quench thirst, but also offer potential probiotic benefits, aligning with contemporary interest in gut health. Many families cultivate a starter liquid for years, passing it down through generations in tightly sealed jars. The process involves boiling water with a small amount of sweetener, sometimes honey or molasses, then allowing the mixture to cool before adding the starter culture. The vessel is often covered with a breathable cloth to keep insects away, while still allowing the fermentation gases to escape. The warmer months see faster fermentation, so the Amish might store their brew in cooler cellars when temperatures soar, ensuring a steady, controlled ferment. Different herbs like peppermint, lemon balm, or chamomile are used to flavor these beverages, creating diverse tastes without the need for store-bought syrups. The resulting tangy drinks can be bottled and kept for several weeks, sometimes longer, extending their shelf life and forming a refreshing alternative to modern sodas. This low-tech approach to beverage production delivers a nutritious, preservative-free drink that ties directly into the Amish philosophy of wholesome, homemade foods. Number 3. Smokehouse Preservation. Smokehouses, often located a short distance from Amish farmhouses, are structures designed to cure and preserve meat without freezing technology. These buildings, typically constructed of sturdy wood with minimal ventilation, hold racks where cuts of pork, beef, or poultry hang to absorb fragrant smoke. The process involves carefully chosen hardwoods, oak, hickory, maple, that provide a slow burn and consistent smoke stream over several days or even weeks. The heat is moderate, and the smoke itself acts as a natural preservative by discouraging bacterial growth and removing moisture from the meat. Before hanging, the Amish often coat their cuts with a rub made of salt, sugar, and sometimes herbs like sage or thyme. This brining step both flavors and further preserves the meat, ensuring it can be stored for long periods once the smoking is done. Temperature regulation is key. If the smokehouse runs too hot, the meat can cook prematurely, too cold, and the smoke might not penetrate deeply enough. Families pass down specific smoking techniques, how to layer wood chips, how often to tend the fire, and which temperature ranges work best for certain meats. Once finished, the meat gains a pronounced smoky flavor that keeps well in cool storage. By combining minimal heat with continuous smoke, the Amish create flavorful, shelf-stable products that don't rely on electric refrigeration, illustrating yet another example of self-reliant, time-tested wisdom. Number 4. Canning circles. Large-scale canning days are a central event in many Amish communities, often bringing together neighbors to can produce in one big effort. The essential hack here lies in cooperation and efficiency. Instead of small, piecemeal efforts, multiple households gather with crates of tomatoes, corn, beans, apples, or peaches that have been freshly harvested. They set up large outdoor burners or wood stoves, where vats of water heat to sterilize jars and boil canned goods. The group collectively peels and chops enormous quantities of produce, then distributes tasks, filling jars, wiping rims, sealing lids, and checking for proper vacuum seals, so everything runs like clockwork. The sense of community speeds up the process, and it also allows for knowledge sharing. Older members guide newcomers on safe temperatures, best headspace requirements, and correct acid levels for certain vegetables. The final products include salsas, jams, pickles, applesauce, and more, all stored in glass jars that line pantries and cellars. These preserves can last for a year or longer, adding bursts of summer flavor to winter meals. Because the entire community works side by side, no harvest goes to waste. There's also a financial benefit, as bulk purchases of lids and jars reduce costs. Through this collective approach, canning becomes not just a method of preservation, but a social occasion that reinforces communal bonds, ensuring every family has a well-stocked larder for the long, cold months ahead. Number 5. Heritage grains and scratch baking. A defining Amish food hack is their persistent cultivation of heritage grains, which often have lower gluten content, richer flavor profiles, and better natural resistance to pests. By saving seeds year after year, Amish farmers ensure each subsequent crop is well adapted to local soil conditions. Grains such as spelt, einkorn, and heritage wheat varieties become cornerstones of daily meals. The hack lies not just in growing these grains, but also in milling them at home. Many Amish families own small, hand-cranked mills or utilize diesel-powered systems that grind flour to a desired coarseness. Freshly milled flour, rich in nutrients and oils, can then be baked into bread within hours of milling. This practice preserves much of the grain's original nutritional value: vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. The resulting loaves often carry a dense, hearty texture that's more filling and flavorful than mass-produced bread. Some households even incorporate sourdough starters passed down through multiple generations, harnessing wild yeasts to ferment dough and boost digestibility. Though it requires extra labor, the process aligns with a belief in self-reliance and wholesome, unprocessed foods. This careful approach to grain selection and home baking yields bread that lasts longer, has fewer additives, and fosters a tangible connection to the land, which many Amish consider vital for both nutrition and faith. Number 6. Vinegar Infusions. Vinegar is a frequent fixture in Amish kitchens, because it's both easy to make and remarkably versatile for preserving. By converting cider or wine into vinegar through an acetic acid fermentation process, Amish communities create a potent liquid that can be used for pickling, marinating, and flavoring foods. Homemade vinegar typically starts with an abundance of apples pressed for cider. The cider is left in a warm, dark corner where naturally occurring bacteria transform sugars into alcohol and then into acetic acid. Once the vinegar is ready, it can be stored in barrels or glass jugs for months, improving in depth and tang over time. When it comes to pickling, Amish cooks take advantage of vinegar's acidity to preserve vegetables like cucumbers, beets, cabbage, or peppers. They combine vinegar with salt, sugar, and spices, mustard seeds, dill, cloves, or garlic, to create brines that not only enhance flavor, but also extend shelf life. The same vinegar is used in salad dressings and homemade condiments such as barbecue sauce or ketchup, offering layers of complexity that factory-made versions may lack. Because vinegar doesn't require refrigeration, it becomes a key off-grid staple, enabling the Amish to preserve large batches of produce efficiently. Properly sealed jars can last a long time in root cellars or pantries, supporting the community's commitment to sustainability and zero-waste cooking. Number 7. Cup cheese and dairy delights. The Amish approach to dairy processing goes beyond simple milk or butter, spotlighting lesser-known items like cup cheese. This Pennsylvania Dutch specialty is a spreadable, tangy cheese that starts by allowing raw milk to sour naturally. After the curds form, they're heated gently and combined with butter, salt, and sometimes a thickening agent like flour. The result is a smooth, creamy spread that can be served warm or cold. Because it's cooked and lightly fermented, cup cheese stays fresh longer than raw milk alone and offers a unique flavor profile. In other cases, Amish families make mozzarella, cheddar, or simple farmhouse cheeses using rennet or other coagulants. The curds are pressed, salted, and set to age in cool places, sometimes waxed for protection. Unused whey, a byproduct of cheese making, often ends up in soups, baked goods, or animal feed, ensuring minimal waste. Butter churning is another staple chore, with many Amish homes owning hand-cranked churns that transform cream into butter in less than an hour. The buttermilk that remains also features in pancakes, biscuits, or cornbread recipes. By emphasizing careful handling, cleanliness, and old-fashioned know-how, the Amish manage to produce a variety of dairy goods that deliver both nutrition and flavor, all while supporting their off-grid principles. This multifaceted approach to dairy helps them create fresh spreads, cheeses, and butters with a longer shelf life and no reliance on industrial methods. Number 8. Lacto fermented vegetables. While pickling typically relies on vinegar, lacto fermentation is another Amish hack that allows vegetables to preserve themselves through natural chemical processes. In lacto fermentation, salt draws out water from the vegetables, often cabbage, carrots, radishes, or cucumbers, and fosters an environment where lactic acid bacteria can flourish. These bacteria feed on the vegetable's sugars and convert them into lactic acid, which acts as a natural preservative. The result is tangy, crisp, and probiotic-rich produce that can be stored in cool conditions for several months. Traditional sauerkraut is perhaps the best-known example, but Amish communities also make lacto-fermented pickles, relishes, and even salsas. They typically pack shredded or chopped vegetables into crocks or jars, layering them with salt and sometimes spices like caraway seeds, peppercorns, or dill. A weight, a clean rock or special fermenting lid, keeps everything submerged in the brine, preventing unwanted mold. After a few days at room temperature, the vegetables become sour. They're then transferred to a root cellar or cold pantry to slow fermentation. This method preserves beneficial enzymes and adds complexity to the final flavor. It also aligns beautifully with the Amish value of minimizing waste. Any leftover cabbage or surplus garden produce can be fermented rather than discarded. Through controlled lacto fermentation, these communities extend the life of fresh vegetables in a natural, healthful way long after the harvest season ends. Number 9. Hand-churned peanut butter and spreads. Peanut butter might not be the first thing people associate with Amish cooking, but homemade nut spreads are a favored treat in many traditional communities. By procuring raw or roasted peanuts, often bought in bulk from local markets or grown in smaller plots, they can grind them into a paste using manual or diesel-powered equipment. Sometimes they incorporate a bit of molasses or honey for sweetness, creating a spread that is richer and more textured than commercial brands. This process is reminiscent of churning butter, where labor-intensive work is rewarded with a fresh, highly flavorful product. The Amish also apply similar methods to other nuts like almonds or walnuts, turning them into spreads that can last for weeks or even months if stored properly. Natural oils in the nuts act as a preservative, especially when kept in cool, dry pantries. Occasionally, these spreads are enhanced with cocoa or maple syrup for variety. Unlike store-bought jars loaded with hydrogenated oils, homemade Amish versions rely on the nut's own oils to maintain a spreadable texture. By dedicating a few hours to hand churning or grinding, families create a shelf-stable staple brimming with protein and healthy fats, a testament to their ability to adapt and add novel items to their food repertoire without compromising on traditional values. Number 10. Modular meal planning. Perhaps one of the most important hacks in Amish cuisine isn't about a single product, but the strategic approach to meal preparation as a whole. The Amish excel at cooking large foundational batches of staples. Think huge pots of beans, vats of soup stock, or generous amounts of tomato sauce, then repurposing those base ingredients across multiple dishes over the course of a week. This technique not only conserves fuel, whether it's wood, propane, or diesel, but also ensures that less time is spent in daily meal prep. For instance, a single batch of cooked beans might show up in a hearty soup on Monday, be refried for burritos on Tuesday, and become the foundation for a casserole by Wednesday. Leftover roasted chicken might get shredded for sandwiches, then turned into a pot pie filling or a topping for homemade pizza crust. By thinking ahead, the Amish reduce the need to keep perishable items at low temperatures. Instead, they use them quickly in a variety of ways. This system also minimizes waste, since every bit of a cooked ingredient finds a use. Meat bones transform into flavorful broths, vegetable scraps become part of compost or livestock feed, and extra dough can become rolls or dumplings. Planning meals in advance, rotating items efficiently, and involving multiple family members in the cooking process create a smooth rhythm in the kitchen. It respects both limited resources and the reality of having large families to feed. This all-encompassing strategy ties together Amish resourcefulness, community collaboration, and a deep respect for every ingredient, ensuring nothing is squandered and each dish serves a distinct purpose in daily life.